Hello, welcome pen friends. Today I'd like to talk about something that I consider now to be an essential when you're mailing out ink samples. And I'm talking about these little pill pouches, but just recently I found a better one. I've talked about these before, and at that time I was using these little ezydose bags, and they work, but they're much, much thinner. And pen friend Cathie was using to send to me something called Maxpert medical pill pouch, and it's much, much stronger. You may even be able to see it, but I could tell you it's definitely stronger, and it's listed as, I think it's 7 ml thick, these are. But anyway, we got to lay the context for this. So I've got one visual, and then I'm going to show you what I used to do and what happened to me. So I'm going to clear some of this stuff here for now. We'll bring it back in a minute. But this is what can happen. And this is this is not something I did to show you. There is a label in there, but this is what can happen to an ink sample, even when you're using a vial that has a little gasket in there, like this one does, and is a proper and good ink vial. I don't know why, but sometimes they can leak. And I don't think it's always because we don't get them tight enough. I just think it has to do with in shipment, in flying here, or in weather and different reasons. It's mysterious, but it happens. And when this happens to one ink sample, it's okay. Like this happened and it didn't affect the others. So I also, not only do I recommend using some kind of a little bag like this, which I now really like these Maxpert ones better than the ones I used to use, but I also recommend to do what I do now and what pen friend Cathie started to do, which is to label your little plastic baggie too, because if this happens, your inner label won't be readable, or it might be just barely, but you may not. Like me, I haven't gotten into here yet. I know there's a blue ink in there, but I haven't gotten into there yet because I have to kind of carefully open it, rinse it off, and see if there's anything that I can see on the label. Let's see. The label's there. It's right in there, and it's kind of sticking out. Anyway, if we label the outside, then we're miles ahead because the person can go about recovery. Either they can get a new vial and just go ahead and dump what can be salvaged into it and label it, and then, you know, clean up the old vial or whatever. You know, they'll know what it is that was in there. So there's that. And, you know, I'm talking to everyone, but mostly beginners, because I think the rest of us have already had these kind of disasters. What happened to me, which I don't have an actual visual for, but I can recreate what I did. I sent to a pen friend 4 ink samples, and they were all blue, but we're just going to grab 4 ink samples. And I was using these little snack baggies, that I buy these at the Dollar Tree, or I used to. I think now they're $1.25, but at the time they were $1. So I just put in the 4 blue samples for her, you know, confident that my ink vials were going to be fine. And here you'll have to use a little imagination, I guess, because I really don't want to ruin anything showing you. But what happened was, I don't know what the other color was, but there was another baggie with 4 of a different color, and those were fine. But the blue one blue culprit leaked all over inside, ruined all the vials. So the ink was still in there in all but 1 of the vials. But it was like this, only 4 of them. So it was a complete loss because you couldn't tell which was which and who would want to have to get into there. So that's the whole reasoning behind it. But now let's just go over these new pouches that I found, or pill pouches, or whatever you want to call them, that I found because I thought, well, now I don't like mine. I don't like mine after I seen what Cathie was using. And then I started realizing, oh, they're not the same at all. This is ezydose. And I went and saw what I'd ordered. And then I went to look up this kind. And that's when I ended up finding these. Actually, I found that I could get, let's put the cheapy one away so we're not getting mixed up. I got 200 of them for, let's see, I wrote it down. $7.99, which makes them 4 cents each. And believe me, to me, 4 cents each is worth saving a sample of ink. It really is, because it's just really nice to know that even if the worst happens, you'll be able to, and to me, this is, you know, this is the worst that'll happen if you've got them contained inside a separate bag. And I know it may seem extreme, but it's happened enough incoming and a few times outgoing too, that I won't balk at keeping these as a standard item. And I just mailed some out to my pen friend who's going to share the ink vent, you know, little samples of the ink vent with me. So, Marilyn, watch your mail, because you don't go and buy any of these. I sent you some, so you'd have them. But the actual ezydose ones came in a bag like this with it had a little top to it. And those were actually more. They were $5.37 for 100, making them 5 cents each, approximately. And I just feel like you could rip these real easily. Let's go ahead. See, it's a real tight fit. So you kind of just, you know, well, that's not so bad. Sometimes it feels like a really tight fit. But with the better ones, the Maxpert or whatever, and there's probably other brands in there, it's just nice and thick. You feel confident that it's not going to split at any of these thin plastic. It's just much thicker. So this is a lot of to do over a small thing, but I think it really matters, and it's been on my mind. It wouldn't leave me alone. I wanted to do a short video for you about it. There's lots of other ways probably that a person could go about this. I've seen a lot of different ways because I've had incoming to me a lot of generous samples, and I pretty much always can salvage and figure out what's going on. Usually it'll be like a small leak. And boy, do I appreciate it when a small leak is contained in one bag where I don't have to clean off all the other little samples that are involved. Oh yeah, that was the other thing. I don't feel fully qualified to talk about vials because I've had a lot of trouble recently. Well, I think they're back in stock at places that are trustworthy like Goulet now, but during the pandemic it was hard for me to find vials, and so I ended up finding some on Amazon that I like, and so far I haven't heard any complaints. And I've also tried to run a few experiments. I like it when they have the little let's see if we can get up in there so you could see the little silicone gasket or something like that. Anyway, when it has that, I feel more confident that they're going to be okay, and then you tighten them up real good and you're probably going to be okay. I was looking at this yellow one. I had some yellow ones that didn't have it, but this one does. It's very hard to see, but there is a clear silicone gasket in this one. So this is cleaned out from a pen friend having sent to me. And so it was funny when I was trying to find a bad one. I couldn't actually find a bad one. These most recent ones I have are from Amazon, and I'll link them. I'm buying them by 36, I think it is, that I get at a time. So it is important, I think, to look for that in your vials. I do like a white cover, but I can't always find the white covers. You know, the white ones being like the, well, I got a bunch of them here, but like Goulet. I think, yeah, this is a Goulet one. Let's see if we can see inside that one. Well, it's hard to see down inside there, but I'm sure there's a, I'm sure there's a silicone gasket in there somewhere. The color, someone brought this up, and I agree that it's easier to see your inked on top color if it's on white, and I definitely agree. It looks better. Let's see. Like with its purple, it's different. It kind of takes away from your background there. But the main thing I came on here for was to advocate for using these. I think they can be reused because, like right here, you know, I could either line through that at least once or twice. I could go ahead and, you know, just put a, well, I don't have my, I have a Sharpie here, but you could go ahead and write over it, or you could stick something over it, because I do heavily believe in labeling the outside, so that when and if you end up with this, then you'll know what's in there, which is just, you know, you're that far ahead, because I do believe there's ink in there still. Yeah, there's at least 3 or 4 mils of ink left in there. Typically it doesn't all come out, just enough to make a nice nasty mess. So it's not a personal failure, folks. Please don't think that it is. I think it's very rare that you didn't tighten it enough, or that it wasn't a good enough vial. It's just something that happens, like any other kind of plumbing leak, you know, it happens, and we can't really predict when it's going to happen, so I like to be ready. So hopefully if this helps one person keep, you know, the rest of their ink nice and clean, then it'll be worth doing, and I'll be really glad that I came on and talked about these. Please let me know if you have a better solution, or a different idea, or something that's worked for you, because I really like learning all these different things. It was really exciting for me when I went from these little wimpy ones to the much, much thicker plastic. I wish I could, you know, really demonstrate the difference. This is really flimsy. And this one is just much thicker. You almost have to feel it to see the difference. Anyway, that's it. That's all. And I hope you have a good day. Bye for now.